Okay, good morning. Um, so today we are going to be researching a role within the media industry. So the role which I'll be researching today is the a stage manager for the live events industry. Now, this is technically a bit of both industries, really. You've got the media side of things, and then you've also got the performing arts side of the industry. This is actually the role of which I want to go into myself personally, and um, I have been actually researching this for quite a while. So there is actually, well, first of all, I'm probably hearing you ask, Nav, why is there a difference between theatre stage managers and live event stage managers? Well, that's a good question. And quite frankly, it's an easy one. Because, well, really, there is a massive difference. So, if I actually just go onto my laptop here. Oh shit, I should probably start with screen recording. Let's open up the game bar. And let's start that screen recording. Okay, so as you can see on my laptop now at the side of me, we are actually looking at the website for the stage manager guide for festival and concert, and also the live events industry. So, let's have a quick scroll down and see what we can find. So, first of all, let's just go right up to the top. So, this is basically a brief outline of a stage manager. So, as I quote, stage manager is one of the most important jobs at events and festivals. The SM, stage manager, is in charge of ensuring all related parties in the stage production, be it a theatre or concert, are communicating effectively on the same page and are able to work together to pull off a performance flawlessly. Now, myself having experience with this from a performing arts unit, not from a PA course, I was actually one of them people who consistently enjoyed having to get everything organized and make sure everything was in place before the show, and even during the show for that matter, which is probably why I wanted to end up doing a stage manager for the live events industry, because I like making sure that everything's in perfect order, and I like seeing things run without fault. But however, we know that there's going to be a fault eventually, so you can't always expect the best, can you? Well, I certainly can't. So, anyway, people looking to become a stage manager or wish to learn about stage management, and then it goes on to say that, as you will see in the video once I upload it, you can actually so there's actually different roles for the theatre manager, as you will see now. So the primary roles, so this is where it differs. For the theatre manager or convention manager, you have got the backstage lighting setup. Although then again, you will have that at live events as well, so that's not a differential. A green room setup and management, Again, keep the shows running on time. That's pretty much the same. Creating and posting a day of a show schedule. So essentially, like, say for example, you've got a musical in at the Palace Theatre. Your job would be to put out a schedule of like the running times of the show, and so you know, like the set and everything. That's basically the same principle with the live events industry, because take Glastonbury for example is the best example I can think of. You have multiple stages, which would be multiple stage managers, but say you're the manager for the pyramid stage, which is the main stage at Glastonbury, as we all know. You would be schedule. You would be your task would be to schedule various acts throughout the day. As you actually have probably the best part of at least maybe 30 acts a day, because you get some acts who will do much larger sets, and then you will also get acts which will only do one set on the main stage and then go and do multiple smaller acts on the other stages around the festival. Again, this is another reason why I'm keen to do this, because I like seeing everything flow. So let's just go back to this real quick. So it shows so you've also got to schedule loading in and loading out times. So essentially what you have to do is you have to manage the times of your acts coming on and off the stage, including any like props which needs to go onto the stage at specific times, etc. You also have to plan and inform all crew of changeover procedures. Again, this actually applies to the live events industry as well as the performing arts industry. Because eventually you're going to have a crew change. Say, for example, you've got Team A and Team B, and Team A do from 6 a.m. till, I don't know, 10 a.m. a 4 hour shift, and then they go on a break. Then you've got Team B coming on at 10 o'clock to take over from Team A, and they're doing from 10 till 3, for example. Then obviously you've got to maintain a consistency throughout that. And then you've got to be aware of when like you're taking shift, because you will also have your ASM, which is your assistant stage manager, who will cover for you when the stage manager is not on stage. It does happen. One of the things I have picked up from performing arts was that you can never have enough stage managers. Well, you can actually. Your stage management team is, you've got 3 people. You've got your SM, which is your stage manager, your ASM, which is your assistant stage manager, and then you've got the runner / call person. So essentially you'd use, it's like a chain of command, so you'd use the runner. Say for example you've got performers waiting, and there's I don't know, a common room or a green room. Yeah, a green room. there's a green room and they're all waiting in there, then the runner will be informed from the stage manager and the assistant stage manager of, right, we've had Ed Sheeran's been on, Gary Barlow's been on. We are now on to the Queen Tribute Act. If you can go and get the Queen Tribute Act, that'll be great. So basically, runner goes and gets the Queen Tribute Act, tells them they're on. They go on stage, do the bit, then they come off, and so forth. With the stage manager, it's his responsibility to make sure that everyone knows when they're supposed to be coming on and also when they're supposed to be coming off. Because you can get some people who do tend to act, who tend to go on a bit longer than their designated stint. And then that's when you get things kind of going to pot. So, again, let's refer back to the laptop. So, again, calling cues and following script. Also, in another job is to escort the artist or artists to and from the performance area. So, say for example, they arrive on a massive like private bus or whatever. You escort them to where they will be performing and like their dressing rooms, etc. And then you've also got the script of the show. Because a lot of people just think, oh, it's the live event industry, we're doing it on a limb. Well, that's not really the case, because quite frankly, the live event industry is more stressful than anything else, because, well, it's live. You don't know what is going to happen, so that is why really you need to have a script in the live events industry. Again, just scrolling down onto some items which we would use in both sectors. Teleprompters, which are mainly with speeches. So these devices are set up prior of the speech, and is essentially used for mainly, best example of this one, mainly stuff like a rally, I would say, kind of like when you get, I don't know, a political party doing a campaign and they've got like a big like presentation thing or something. That is where you'd use the teleprompter. And then you've got timers, which will basically set the which will actually like go off your cues. So you have the say for example you've got different lighting, for example. You'd give the stage manager would hand these to his ASM, his assistant stage manager, and the assistant stage manager would be in charge of, he'd have his own separate script of the timing for the lighting cues. Say for example Ed Sheeran's on and is playing a number from his Divide album. On the back, on like the big LED wall at the back, it could be like the album logo like flashing in blue and black LEDs, or it could be like for example the lyrics are being projected on the back of the screen. And then obviously you also have stage cues. So stage cues are basically, like I said earlier, when people or things are going on and or off the stage. So you really need to keep your eye on the ball with these, as if you don't pay attention to the cues, but also it's not just down to you to know, well, it is mainly down to you to know all the cues, but it's also your performer's job to remember that they're on the cues as well, because if you get an act which is going to be late and you've got a slot which is, right, he's supposed to be here from 3 o'clock till 4:30 doing a set, and he's not here. That can screw a lot of things up, folks. It really can. Just going back onto the laptop again. So, working with stage cues. So, a couple of the examples I've got here is the start of a video, a VOG talking to the crowd, tell them to take their seats. So basically, a public announcement system for the festival, start of a speech, the end of a speech with a brief set change, etc., and also the start of a band. So that's pretty much it for the theatre side of it, and then with the concert and festival stage managers, which is where I'm looking at, you primarily have the you are basically the liaison between artists and vendors of the venue or the festival promoters. Your job is to make sure artists arrive on time, load in, and then do sound checks and everything that they've got to do before they actually do their main set. So, for example, you could have them. Say, for example, you've got. Who's a band at the moment? Who's a band at the moment, actually? Black Eyed Peas. I'll use them as an example. Say you've got Black Eyed Peas on at your festival, and their set time is they're due to start at 12:30, and they're playing until 2:30, so it's 2 hour stint. They really need to be there at least a good hour before then. So you're looking at 11:30, 11 o'clock at the earliest, to get them to your set, get them to do sound check, get them to have all the instruments set up, and make sure that everything is hunky-dory. So what you will also get as well is you may have specific needs for some groups on your stage. So, for example, as you can see on the laptop here, as I just scroll down, you can actually see this mock of a stage diagram. So this actually shows you where everything and everyone is. However, if you can actually just see it, there is an important notice, as you see there. No white flashing lights during our set. Now, this is a prime example of why you need to make sure that not only you know that there's no white flashing, there's no lights or whatever, but also your team knows, because if the team doesn't know, one, that's bad communication, let's be honest. Two, it's not going to fall on their shoulders, it's going to fall on your shoulders as a stage manager to be responsible for it, and quite frankly, that leads you on to 3. You could get sued. because you don't know why they don't want flashing lights, or might not like them. Or for example, someone could have epilepsy, and if it's photosensitive epilepsy, white flashing lights will screw them up. It will cause a seizure, and you don't want to be having a seizure whilst you're performing live on stage. Let's be honest. So, again, just looking on the live one, so there's a couple of things to consider with the live event stuff. So you've got to be aware of any vehicles as well, any like on stage vehicles or any vehicles within the perimeter of your set. So for example, say you've got, I'll use Black Eyed Peas again. Say you've got like 2 massive HGVs coming in with all of their stuff, so their instruments, their sound equipment, because people might use their own sound equipment, but most festivals do provide the sound equipment. It's primarily like their instruments that they will bring. Merchandise, you actually do need to be aware if they have any merchandise to sell, because you also need to be able to have somewhere set up for the merchandise to be sold, but isn't like a 40-mile trek down the other end of the field to buy merch. You want the merchandise either at the entrance, or you want it like on the sides where it's accessible to people, so that they can buy the merch and support their artists. Again, another thing you need to consider is, do they need or do they want an introduction? It does depend really, because some groups will want an introduction, but if like a very famous group which are well known, they might not need an introduction doing by you. They might have their own introduction already planned, but it's something to consider, because like that is another reason why the stage manager role is pretty fun, actually, because you get that personal connection, not just as like a fan or a supporter of the artist, but you also get the enthusiasts a bit more geared up, actually. Like, it's kind of like bigging up their group, and it's also like more personal, like if you gave them the introduction, because it's like you give them an introduction, it's like, ladies and gentlemen, the Black Eyed Peas. Well, not just something that's as basic as that, but something like which makes everyone excited, and you get the crowd cheering, and you get the group going on, and they're in a massive, like, they're on a massive high, and like the crowd's going, everything's going well, you've done your job, crowd's happy, band's happy, and then at the end of it, they turn around to you, at the end of their stint when they come off, and they just turn around and go, "Hey, stage manager, thanks for the introduction. Really appreciate it. Thank you." Like, you get that, and it does kind of make you feel better, because you feel like you've had a personal connection as well. So for now, that will be all for this video. I hope you have enjoyed me listening. I hope you've enjoyed listening to me talk about the stage management job. And I will probably see you in my next video. So, thank you very much for joining me. This has been Nav, signing off.